Hey guys, and welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I am joined by Carley from Completely Gorgeous Beauty. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. This is exciting.
We're very excited to have you on. As we just spoke quickly before we began, you're actually in the beauty industry.
I
Um,
am.
yeah, which is a little bit different. Obviously, we have a lot of people in aesthetics.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, super excited to have you on and know a bit more about you. So did you want to kind of tell us how you got into beauty and to the point where you're at today?
Yes, of course. So I was really lucky that I always knew I wanted to get into the beauty industry. A lot of people don't, and they and ah when they leave school. But I was straight into college. Knew I wanted to do beauty. My auntie has a couple of salons. Well, one at the time when I was younger, and I guess I don't know. I just grew up like thinking, oh, I was around hairdressers, and I just loved all things girly, to be honest with you. So I knew I wanted to do that. So I went straight into college, and then I worked in a couple of salons. And I guess you're just surrounded, knowing that what you want from a salon, what I wanted my clients to want. And I guess when you're working for fast-paced salons, sometimes they slack on some customer service, just different parts. And I knew that I wanted to give my clients a lot more. So I guess my vision was always to open up somewhere. And so I worked in a couple of salons, some spas, and went mobile. So I worked mobile for a bit as well. And I then opened up my salon almost 8 years ago now. And yeah, I've not looked back. It's obviously had its ups and downs. But there's a team of 9 of us, and we do, yeah, pretty much all things beauty. I have a training academy as well. So I do training for various different courses, and I just love being able to pass on my knowledge. Really, it's nice to kind of empower women and start them off on their own career. So that's a little bit about me. We do various different treatments here in the salon as well.
Yeah, amazing. And I mean, to have like members of staff working within your salon, that's fantastic. Just
Yeah,
shows how, businesses can grow and it depends on what you want. Like you said, you knew you wanted to open a salon. And here you are now.
I am. Yes.
Super exciting. I'm wondering then, because you mentioned about going mobile at one point, you were a mobile
Yes.
beautician. Um,
Yeah. Mhm.
how was that in terms of, I say, running a business mobile, like finding clients and still the safety aspect of treating clients potentially in their own home, I guess?
Yeah, yeah. So I guess there's a lot more to think about because you are going into someone's home and you're having to make sure that everything is, there's health and safety, being clean, etc. So it does have its own challenges, but it's also very flexible. So it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. And obviously you've got the bonus of no overheads. So being mobile is great, but then I found it really took its toll lugging everything around, and I
Mm.
was almost a little bit more limited. So I do a lot of nails. It was a little bit more limited in terms of there's only so much you can carry around, so there's only so much you can grow your kit, colors and things like that, so you'd be carrying in tons of stuff otherwise. So although it's flexible and it definitely does have its benefits, no overheads, etc., I just felt a little bit more restricted, and I just wanted like my own place to work from. My house was filled with, the couch, the beauty couch, having to lug that around, your waxing box, your nail stuff. It's just never ending. So that's when I knew I wanted to then go into the like an actual salon, just have a set base.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And I think something you said about overheads is kind of the argument people have with themselves when they're just starting out. They obviously want to save as much money until they know they're making money. Um,
Yes.
so I wonder if you're happy to share with us then, how did it feel to kind of make that leap and have an actual salon?
It was just being active all the time. So going out and finding clients, being active on social media. I did countless like leaflet drops, which sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. But you know, for the amount that it costs, I had a lot of spare time when I first started up. So it's just making the most of it. So you know, trying to approach different people and letting them know who you are, rather than sitting back and waiting for people to find you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
So I felt like, although it was a leap going from being mobile to a salon, I did it quite sensibly, I guess. So I did it gradual. So I was working in a salon or a spa, or you know, I had then like a part-time job just doing admin. And what I was doing is I was growing my beauty business on the side gradually, because for me, I just wanted to feel secure. You know, I don't know, some people are fine and they have no fear, but for me, I just wanted to feel financially secure. So I had that income coming from my part-time job, and I was then just growing my beauty business on the side to a point where I was restricted with my hours. I couldn't take on any more clients. And then it got to the point where I then went mobile full time. And then I had a good client base by this point. So going and then into the salon, it wasn't as scary. I just felt ready for it. I was prepared. And I was, you know, I worked out financially like what my overheads would be. And I made sure that I was covered for the first, I can't remember, it was so long ago, but it was 3 or 6 months. So if, you know, it was a case of I went into the salon and I had 0 clients, I knew that I was covered for those first few months, even though I'd already built up my client base. It's just, for me, I just felt a little bit more secure and confident doing that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like you said, it's helpful that you'd already built up that client base and they're just kind of transitioning to a new space rather.
Yeah, that's
So
it,
that,
exactly.
yeah, that's always really helpful, because that can be quite daunting for people who are just starting out, thinking, you know, where am I getting these people from? But like you said, you did like leaflet drops. I assume like social media is always a big part to play.
Totally.
Unfortunately, but fortunately.
Yeah, that's it. It has definitely got its perks. And I say to a lot of my students as well, it's not just sitting back and letting people find you. It is so important to obviously stay active on social media, but go and find them. So, you know, you can't just wait for people to find your page, because, you know, that might or might not ever happen. So approaching people and just not being pushy, but just letting them know about you. You know, whether it's friends or friends, or asking your friends to support you by sharing your page and things like that. It's really important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I've mentioned it to someone else actually, and I've always said that if you don't ask or don't tell, you only end up in the same position you're at right now anyway. So you might as well try.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. You can't lose anything, can you?
Yeah, for sure. And just as you mentioned, you said about, oh, I tell my students. I would love it if you told us more about your training and whether that was always within your plan to become a training academy.
Yeah, do you know, funny enough, it wasn't really. And it got to the point, I think so I took on a part-time, no, was she part-time? Yeah, I think she started part-time, and she was at college. So I was very much training her how we did things. And a couple of people said, "Oh gosh, you're a really good teacher." And I then like took a step back and thought, I really enjoy this. I really enjoy passing on my knowledge and watching someone grow. It just really, I don't know, it's empowering to watch someone then feel confident in what they're doing. And it got to a point where I thought, I actually really enjoy this now and I really want to do it. And I guess in our industry, it is almost, for some people, it's the next step, isn't it? Because being on the tools as such, so doing nails, is, you know, you're using your hands a lot. And if that's all I ever knew, I thought, you know, worst case scenario, if something ever did happen, what would I do to still continue in this industry? I don't know. You hear of people getting arthritis and things like that, and doing nails is very hands-on. So I thought I need another plan to continue progressing in this industry, and that's what it ended up being. So I have apprentices in the salon as well, so I obviously am teaching them, and I do just absolutely love it. So it was never it, you know, was never my vision as such, but as I progressed in the salon and in the industry, I then realized I really do enjoy teaching and growing people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really kind of organic way of getting into it, you know, not having the attention as such. And
Yeah,
and then realizing that you love it, which is always
that's
good.
Yeah, because I do think a lot of people get into it and they think, oh, it's just a really good money maker, which it can be, but it's just so important to make sure you've got that passion first, because I just don't think you progress as well as you could. People can see if you have got a passion for something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the students or potential students notice that as well, depending on
Mm,
the way that you deliver the training and what you offer them, they can tell how much you care about what you're doing.
yeah.
I kind of want to ask you then, like, what would you suggest people look for in a trainer or a training academy when they want to get started in the beauty industry?
So definitely make sure that you get on with them almost. So like look at their fit. If you're going on social media, for example, get on with their feed and make sure that your personalities gel. Because not everybody is the right fit for a student, if that makes sense. So I definitely would like look at their feed, make sure that you like their vibe, like what they're doing, making sure that there's aftercare there as well. So for me, I always say to my students, I have an open door. So if you ever get stuck on anything, then I want them to come back. I'll invite them back in. At the end of the day, my name is on their training as well. And I'd much rather them be delivering treatments confidently and having the best outcome that they can, than sitting there struggling and, people potentially complaining to them about their treatments. Because you do often see people get very just quick courses and there's no aftercare, there's no help afterwards. It's just right, take your money and go. And I do think then that students lack the confidence. They don't really know what they're doing and then they can't progress. And that's what you want them to do, right? So I'd say if a student's looking for a trainer, just make sure that you understand how they work, that you do get on with them, and that if you did have any problems going forward, that they would be there to help you.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, especially like you said about the bit about kind of their own aftercare, knowing
Yeah,
that they're still supported by someone. Because again, once you go out into the big wide world of beauty, aesthetics, anything, it's petrifying when you're technically
it's
alone.
yeah, that's it. And especially where it's such a new treatment that you've just learned, I just think if you did, you're going to come across different clients, different problems. You can't cover absolutely everything practically in a course. You can discuss it and talk about it, but until you actually see, potential problem in front of you, um, it's hard, isn't it? So I think you don't want to feel alone then. You need to have that support. So I have students a year down the line still dropping me a message and asking for advice. And I love that because I want them to feel comfortable with being able to do that.
Yeah, and I think it also shows that the trust they have in you and your opinion and your knowledge, which is always a nice compliment when people
Yeah.
ask you for advice. Did you think, oh, you do trust what I have to say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it.
I suppose then, in terms, kind of on the same note, what's your opinion on kind of connecting with people within the industry, whether that's face to face or through social media? Like, is that something you tend to do, or do you rather just kind of stay in your own lane?
Oh no, I love networking. I think it's really important. And I know some people have different opinions, and they almost think, oh no, but that's what I do. But at the end of the day, there is enough people to go around. And I think supporting people is key in this industry, making friends. You don't want to make enemies almost, if that, you want to have that support. So I've got a close business friend, actually. We talk regularly. She literally has a salon down the road from me. So for some people, they think you'd have the same client base, but we so often will send people each other's way because we're so busy. If we can't fit clients in, I'd rather them go to someone that I trust,
Mm.
and that, I can send them to good, safe hands. So I do, yeah, I think networking is really important because there's always new products coming out in the industry as well. And you sometimes it's nice to bounce off someone, right? So if you come across your own problem, if you're experiencing something new, asking a fellow industry friend is good to have. It's nice to have as well.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's just another level of support, isn't it? And
Yeah.
sometimes what can be quite a lonely world, especially for those who potentially don't have other staff members with them, sometimes you can feel quite I mean, isolated, I guess,
Isolated.
there all
Yeah.
day by yourself with all these people coming in and out.
Yeah.
It can be a bit lonely sometimes, I suppose.
Absolutely, it can. And then for me, as an employer as well, it's good to bounce off other
Mm.
employers just to get different advice, because there's always different things that come up, right? So
Yeah.
it's good just to have to know that you can approach someone and ask them for their opinion or their advice, or even if you're having like a low day as such, just someone to pull you back up and reassure you and uplift you. That's always really, really nice to have.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of like what you mentioned when you said about not having the same clients and being able to refer clients to other people that you do trust, and not kind of being worried that like, oh no, I'm going to go out of business if I don't take every single client that's coming my way. And I was just wondering then, who are your clients, for example? Like, is there a specific type of person? Is there a treatment that everyone tends to gravitate towards and come to you for? What does your client base look like?
We definitely specialize in nails for sure. We do lots of different types of nails and nail art, but that's where I think I was going with that. I think it does depend what you're posting on your feed a lot. So I
Mm.
found naturally nails are nice to post. It's really hard to post pictures of waxing and things like that, isn't it? So naturally then, because our client base is pretty much all on social media, we were finding it was attracting whatever we were posting. So then slowly over the years, predominantly our service is nails because of that reason. So now we are slowly working on our social media and pushing other treatments simply by showing them on social media pictures and afters, befores and afters, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, as soon as I go on Instagram and I find a nail page, I'll be scrolling for what feels like hours.
Actually, yeah.
Just get lost in nail art and all these beautiful things.
You do, yeah.
But yeah, social media, especially for things like nails or any opportunity when there's before and after pictures, is a very good point. I did want to ask actually, because I know that you're one of our lovely Faces users. As
Yes.
you mainly do nails, like you said, what is it that you tend to use the Faces consent app for?
As in treatment or for the consultation forms?
Yeah, well, that was kind of the question, really.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
What do you tend to use on there? Because obviously, like I say, with aesthetics, we have like consent forms and pharmacies. As you're
Yeah.
in beauty and you specialize mainly in nails, what is it that you use the Faces Consent app for?
Oh, consultation forms. They're amazing, aren't they? I mean, it's so easy. And this is why
Yeah.
I send my students, sorry, they'll ask, how do you do consultation forms? And I'll give them the app. I mean, it's great because it's free for us, and is it free for everybody?
Yeah, that like I say, there's paid for features on there, like there's
Yeah.
the shop, the pharmacy, but the consent forms was kind of where it started because we wanted, like you said, we wanted it to be easy, simple,
Yeah.
everything on one space, one app. That was our kind of aim with Faces.
Yeah, I started them because I thought maybe it's because we have like a certain amount of clients, and I thought maybe if you got to a certain point you had to pay for it or something. But at the moment it's free, so no, that's free for everyone. So that's why I tell my students this is what we use, because it's just so easy, because everything is there for you. Obviously you can tweak things if you want, but the questions are very relatable to the treatment, so you don't actually have to do hardly anything. It's there for you, and it's perfect, especially if you're just starting up and you want the absolute basics and you don't really know what you do and what you don't need. The bulk of it is there for you, and you can scroll through the consent forms and tweak things as you need to, but it's fantastic. I love it. It's easy.
Yeah, and I think the thing with it being easy is that also saving time where we can, because whether you're in
Absolutely.
beauty, health, fitness, aesthetics, anything, everyone's busy doing something. So
They are, this is it.
where we can save time, we like to do so.
Yeah, and that's what I love.
For sure. I suppose then to round off this podcast, I've had a great time talking to you.
Yeah.
I would like to know what your biggest achievement has been, what you feel like, you patted yourself on the back and you think, wow, I have done a really good job.
I'd say keeping the salon open for as long as I have, but also giving people a job, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm giving them a happy job as well. All my staff, you know, touch wood, they're all so happy. We have a great dynamic here. You know, our staff members are so happy, and we all get on so well, which is so nice. And a lot of our clients will comment on that. I think my biggest achievement is giving my staff a happy job, a really nice working environment, and you know, knowing that I'm like helping them pay for their bills, if that makes sense. Like it's a big achievement to be able to give someone a full-time job, you know, 9 times over as such. So that's a big achievement. But having a happy environment has probably got to be the one that's up there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You make me want to come and work for you now. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Carley. Did you want to let everybody know where they can find you online and in real life?
Yeah, of course. So online, Instagram is the place to be at the moment, isn't it? So at CG Beauty is our main salon page, and then I've got my separate training page, which I'm trying my best to grow as well. I've separated the two now. So at CG Beauty Training, for any queries on training or just even hints and tips on different treatments, business tips. I like to post things like that on there. So if people aren't local, just things that they can take away from my page. So that's that's my Instagram handles.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for being on the podcast. I had a lovely time talking to you. And also thank you everybody else for tuning in and listening today. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.